for the hardest-hitting show in talk radio. The true progressive voice since 2012. This is Southpaws.
And welcome to Southpaws on the Pacifica Radio Network. We are the leaders of the revolution. My name is Darren Gibson, and I'm your co-host.
And yes, I am Jack Prince, your fellow co-host.
How are you today?
Not too bad, Darren.
You got a new vehicle. Well, new to you anyway, so
yeah,
got to be doing good.
Yeah, gee whiz, what a money pit these vehicles are.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I found that out. And I keep finding that out every time I buy a car. So anyway, it's going to be a nice sunny day. We're recording on Friday, April 26th in beautiful sunny Grand Rapids, Michigan. Unfortunately, we're supposed to get 3 inches of snow tomorrow night. That's going to go away Sunday mornings. But it's pure Michigan. No, it's pure climate change, folks. Here it is. All right.
It's been a pattern. You get a couple nice days, and then you get cold temperature every weekend. I mean,
yeah.
Continue. It was the same thing last year.
Yeah.
That's not normal Michigan weather.
No.
They say, it always snows sometimes in May. Yeah, I mean, in the last 100 years it may.
Yeah.
But that's not a pattern.
No, it isn't. Not like this. This has just been the worst winter we've had in a while for just absolute up and down roller coaster type weather. 8 inches of snow 2 weekends ago. In what universe is that normal?
Yeah.
Maybe Bizarro World, the alternate universe, maybe Bizarro is out there. And
the kids know what's going on. They're out raising hell. They're out protesting all over all the world.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're going to be raising hell right here on this show today. Before we get to that, a couple of reminders. You can follow us on social media by going to facebook.com/Southpaws Radio Show. You can follow us on Twitter at Southpaws Radio. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/Southpaws Radio. And we're back on iTunes, folks. Go into the iTunes store, look under podcasts for Southpaws, and find our logo. Our last 3 episodes are up there. And please keep supporting us. You can find us on Spreaker as well. Just do a search for Southpaws, and you'll find us.
You want pure, unadulterated, progressive talk. This is a place to listen up.
Absolutely.
We've got vitamins every day for progressive brain cells.
We certainly do. It's vitamin P, progressive. All right. Well, I want to update this. We talked last week about the strike against Stop and Shop supermarkets by workers represented by the United Food and Commercial Workers Union. Well, over the weekend, a tentative offer was reached. This is by Katie Johnston and John Hilliard at the Boston Globe. It's dated April 21st. Stop and Shop and its striking workers reached a tentative agreement Sunday night, bringing an end to a 10-day work stoppage that crippled New England's largest grocery chain, closing dozens of stores, delaying food from reaching others, and keeping away loyal shoppers in large numbers. The Stop and Shop workers who were on strike returned to work Monday morning, according to a union spokesman. As in most modern-day labor disputes, the standoff was largely over rising health care costs and reductions to pension plans. The tentative 3-year agreements between Stop and Shop and 5 United Food and Commercial Workers Union locals representing the workers offered increased pay for all workers, as well as continued health care coverage and retirement benefits. The UFCW, in its statement, said the agreement also maintains time-and-a-half pay on Sundays for current members. The United Food and Commercial Workers Union said in a statement, quote, "Under this proposed contract, our members will be able to focus on continuing to help customers in our communities enjoy the best shopping experience possible and to keep Stop and Shop the #1 grocery store in New England." End of quote. They said that a vote would take place as soon as possible about the deal. I do have another story about the Stop and Shop strike. This is from WTOP out of Washington. This is, again, the Associated Press. It's dated April 24th out of Boston. The owners of New England's largest supermarket chain are projecting around $100 million in losses from the labor strike that ended Easter Sunday. Ahold Delhaize, the Dutch company that owns Stop & Shop, said the 11-day strike is expected to lead to losses between $90 million and $110 million. The company says generally lower sales, lost revenue from seasonal and perishable inventory, and supply chain costs were the main drivers. Stop & Shop officials and the United Food and Commercial Workers Union reached a tentative 3-year agreement on Sunday. Some 31,000 workers at 240 stores in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut returned to work Monday. They voted on the proposal Wednesday and Thursday. Well, I guess they could have avoided losses of up to $100 million if they would have negotiated in good faith with the United Food and Commercial Workers employees. Isn't that just common sense, Jack?
Yeah.
Apparently, we're not seeing a lot of common sense these days, are we?
It's not common.
No, not anymore. Common sense will tell you who the front runner in the 2020 presidential race is as far as the Democratic contenders, which there's now 20. Well, I want to get to this, and then we'll talk about Joe Biden here. But I want to read this. This was dated April 22nd, and it was published at NBC News out of Washington. Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders' campaign has released new internal polling that shows him leading Donald Trump in hypothetical matchups in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. According to the internal data released to reporters by the campaign, Sanders is up by double digits in Michigan and Wisconsin. 11 points in Michigan, 10 in Wisconsin. He leads in Pennsylvania by 8 points. The poll did not measure Democratic candidates against Trump in head-to-head matchups, and it did not include a scenario in which a third-party candidate like former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz is also on the ballot. But Ben Tulchin, Sanders' pollster, said that the results indicate that Sanders is in a uniquely strong position to take on Trump. He told NBC News, quote, "I don't think it's any generic Democrat fits the mold here. Trump is vulnerable here, but it has to be for the right kind of Democrat who has real strengths and can win these 3 states. I don't think any other candidate is as well positioned as Bernie is in these 3 states," end of quote.
Hey, there's the guy you need to unify behind, Dems.
Yeah? You want to talk unity? Right here it is. Right in front of you.
I mean, we're talking common sense a minute ago, right?
Yep.
What's the common sense deduction you would make to unite behind somebody who's a brand new candidate, who has a historical legacy of being the mayor of South Bend, right? Or a proven veteran progressive who has outpolled Trump for 5 effing years?
Yeah.
Where's the common sense then? Now, I'll be called a smear for making that point.
Yeah, exactly. You're telling the truth.
Yeah.
Telling the truth is a smear, according to a lot of faux-gressives, and I said it, faux-gressives, as people that call themselves progressives, but they're fakes. Let me continue the NBC story. Some data points the campaign highlighted include that across all 3 states, a majority of voters believe the country is on the wrong track, disapprove of Trump's handling of the job, and support Medicare for All, a platform that's becoming increasingly popular among Democratic presidential candidates. Let's stop right there. It is not becoming increasingly popular among Democratic presidential candidates. To say that they support Medicare for All is becoming increasingly popular, but the ones that say it aren't actually for it. Except Bernie Sanders. There's your proof. You need to look. Go look. FEC.gov, the Federal Election Commission, shows every single candidate when they raise money who is paid by. You need to look at the FEC website, FEC.gov.
You want to talk about a blood test to prove who's your daddy, right? You see a show that people sit around in the trailer park.
Where's Maury?
Yeah. And then it comes back. The proof comes through the door, and you are not the daddy. Well, here's the blood test for the candidates running for president in the Democratic Party. You give them the test. You give them the test about single payer, and the results will come back every single time. You are not a progressive.
Yeah.
You are not a progressive.
Yeah.
Mr. Sanders, you are a progressive. It is no more complicated than that. And your daddy is the corporate world, Beto. And your daddy, Peter Buttigieg, is the corporate world.
And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and everybody.
It's not complicated. It's real simple.
Yeah, let me continue.
Sure.
The 3 states were key to Trump's 2016 victory. Before Trump's success there, the last time a Republican presidential candidate had won any of those states was 1988. Sanders' allies believe his message on economic equality helps him connect to the kinds of blue-collar voters the Democrats lost in 2016. Earlier this month, the senator went on a 4-day road trip through the Midwest, highlighting his general election focus on the region. I'm going to stop it right there. Here's one more litmus test. Who is the only Democratic presidential candidate who has outright said they will end right-to-work laws? They will have federal legislation passed banning right-to-work.
Yeah.
Who's the only one?
Let me guess. Joe Biden?
Nope.
Okay. Kamala Harris? As a matter of fact, I think I know the answer. And as a matter of fact, these litmus tests are never mentioned. When they talk about policy, there's 3 or 4 home runs. You don't have to split down into who's more supportive of gay rights. You don't have to talk about who can drink more lattes in their limousine. All you have to talk about are these issues right here. That's the end. It's over after that.
So you didn't answer. Who's your answer? Who's the only candidate who has said...
It's my man Bernie.
Bernie Sanders? Right there it is, folks. Right there it is.
We're rolling the date. I love the sound effects.
Yep. Oh,
but the
boy.
problem, if I could add something here.
Yeah.
You know, the problem is, as we mentioned on our show last week, they are dug in. The establishment is dug in. I had a establishment Dem here in local Grand Rapids challenge me on Facebook saying, well, Jack, could you define what an establishment Democrat is? This guy has been a party hack for years, and he wants me to define to him what an establishment is, what an establishment Democrat is. Mm-hmm. I'm going to not only go into the issue over health care and single payer, but I'd like to mention that if you were against busing back 30 years ago, back in my high school days, like Joe Biden was, if you, and it's on record categorically, were against the busing of black students to white schools, does anybody remember the busing incidents in this world?
No.
And Biden came out. You got your buzzer ready?
Yep.
100% against integration via school busing.
Yeah.
Next litmus test. You ready, candidates? Here you go. We're going to find out who your daddy is. If you voted for the Iraq War, if you cast a ballot, just like Joe did, Joe came out and said there's nothing that's going to guarantee our protection and justice in the world, then voting for this Iraq War, like his cousin Hillary, his corporate cousin Hillary. Okay, litmus test.
Yeah.
What are we up to? 4 now? Do we have 4 of them?
Yeah.
How many of you candidates voted for the Iraq War?
Yeah.
You did, Joe? You're done.
Yeah.
You're out.
Yeah. I want to continue here. But while Sanders also says that his identification as a democratic socialist is far more about an embrace of those policies, other polls show that socialism isn't popular with the electorate. And once again, NBC gets it wrong. It's not socialism. Here, let me give you some examples of socialism that you have in everyday life. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's all around you right now. When somebody breaks into your home and steals from you, you call the police, right? That's socialism.
Sure is.
If your house burns down, you call the fire department. That's socialism. The roads you drive on, that's socialism.
Hey, you're lined up at the Michigan State football game. You drank 4 bottles of beer before the game. You've got to go to the bathroom bad, but you have to stand in a line of 100 people until you can go in and urinate. That's socialism. The contrary to that is you say, hey, wait a second. I was born rich, and I go to the front of the line. You can pee your pants.